And welcome into Inside LAFC podcast, your place to get all the latest about the black and gold. I am Max Bretos. There is Stephen Beitashour. Beta, don't spoil it, but we have some big news concerning you that we'll talk about here in a couple minutes.
I'll do my best.
All right. We're always a feel-good show here, and it's been win after win, and LAFC looking like MLS Cup contender, favorite. Didn't happen this weekend. We knew there was going to be days like this. It happened. The Columbus Crew not only ending their unbeaten run, but also ending their unbeaten record at home. So it's a tough one. I'm not going to dwell on it too much because I think this club certainly deserves the benefit of the doubt. They deserve a bad night. Because this is MLS, and everyone has bad nights. It's with games coming in, but there's a little more to it, obviously, because you could see another team that you would consider elite, and they'll get another shot at another team this week. We'll talk about that, and you just didn't quite match up. Was it just a bad night? Is it a combination? Is it bad night, and then maybe they're facing a better team?
We talked about it the week before. This streak was going well. It had to come to an end. Obviously, you don't want it to happen against another team like Columbus, who everyone says, this is one of the favorites, as is LAFC, to make to the finals. So you don't want to be against them. But you know what? The streak has to end, and now they can start a new one. So, you can either take clips from this, they can review it, learn from it, or maybe it's just one of those where they're like, you know what? We were just off. It was just one of those days. Nothing was good. Let's just throw that tape away. Let's move on to the next week.
It was just scary. There was times, they lose 5-1, but there was moments you're holding your breath. And Columbus opened up the team. There's no doubt about it. There's just a moment where things got disconnected, but it felt like there could be some more goals. Thankfully, there were not. But the game was pretty wide open there at the end.
We mentioned it before. Columbus is one of those fun attacking teams. They love to possess. They love to move the ball side to side. And they've got very good players, very talented players that will punish you. And, it was just one of those nights where they took their chances. Yes, it did start getting open at the end once you're chasing a little bit. That's just what you have to do as LAFC has that mentality of, we're not surrendering. We're not just going to quit. They continue to push for it. And unfortunately, the result wasn't good. I'm sure everyone was disappointed, but it was, I'm sure for a lot of those guys, it was good to see Christian and Diego, a couple familiar faces that had a great time at LAFC when they were there in 2018, 2019, and beyond for Diego. So it was good to see those guys.
Yeah, it was also great because you saw Christian. He's from Orange County. Some family members there. He embraced. I believe it was his dad, and it was like they all got to see him. I gotta ask you, what is your philosophy on celebrating against your former team? Because Christian wasn't here for a lot. He scored 2 goals and he celebrated. Diego's here longer, and he did one of these.
I noticed that with Christian, he did celebrate. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because his family was there. But, I did score 2 goals against San Jose Earthquakes, and both times I put my hand up. And I don't score many goals either. So
what were the chances? 2 against down first team.
Well, Larry Friedman will love that one goal because he gave me a high five right before, maybe 3 minutes before I scored the goal. So he likes to say that was the reason I scored there. But
and you're like,
yeah, but I scored. I put my hands up because I'm from there. So Christian had a different mindset. He is obviously from Orange County, like you mentioned, and he scored and he celebrated. So it's just forwards. They enjoy celebrating. Diego, now I respect what Diego did. He put the hands up. He scored the first goal for LAFC. When he did score, he immediately said, "I'm not celebrating." So I love that kind of attitude from a player.
Are you going to sing the Diego Rossi first goal song?
Did they sing it?
I'm asking, are you going to?
Oh, I don't know the words. You know the words. I just go to the beat. I'm like, this is great. If you know the words, please, by all means.
That's an interesting discussion because that gesture, and people say you should celebrate your goals. That's for the fans. The fans cheered for you, but Christian Ramirez didn't have the most ceremonious exit here. Obviously, it was quick. I get it, and you can't do that, especially if you've been on a few teams. You got to celebrate goals, and I think you're right. It's a forwards mentality. But Diego Rossi was certainly embedded with his club, as you said. He has a song, so I was very happy to see it. I'm okay with Christian doing that. I'm sure the supporters, it was tough because not only their worst home loss ever, the fact that it was the rematch of MLS Cup, I was calling it the game of the year because not only was it a rematch of MLS Cup, but it was the two best teams, the two hottest teams in MLS. And then you lose to them again. So, people are, the good news is you won't have to see them until the very end if you see them at all.
Yeah.
But there's some good teams in the East: Columbus, Cincinnati, Miami, and then LAFC. They beat the Galaxy. They'll get a shot against RSL. We'll talk about them in a moment. Those are the teams you got to keep in front of you right now.
I still think we'll see them at the end of the year. They're still my two favorites from each side. So probably won't be the last time they see each other this year.
Yeah. And remember, they had what LAFC had going through the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So they've been really busy. So now they should get even better. I'm with you. I think that's going to be the final two teams at the end. We shall see. Time to build a new streak. And LAFC have a big week again ahead of them. They have Salt Lake on Wednesday. They have Sounders on Saturday. I believe it's Saturday. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, that's going to be up in Seattle. So Seattle's playing much better. A quick thought about Salt Lake. We were hoping to see Chicho Arango come in, just like we saw Diego Rossi, to see if he would have celebrated if he scored against LAFC. We saw him against last year. 4-game suspension. We don't know what, but that's a big one. 4-game suspension, including the All-Star game. So we don't know anything. I'm not going to get into it. But it's disappointing because we won't see Chicho this weekend. But obviously, this is a pretty significant suspension for him.
It's a big loss for Salt Lake. I think he's a driving force to their success this year. He's won a lot of games for them single-handedly. They've been in games. You got to give Mascherano credit because their team is fighting and battling. But he has a special moment here and there, and over the course of the season, it adds up, and that's why they're sitting in third right now because of the quality that he has as a player. So it's unfortunate. Anytime you play another good team, you want them to be stacked. You want all the best players to come in and give it your all. And it's going to be unfortunate because now LAFC is like, well, even if we do beat them, which we expect to, it wasn't the same because Arango wasn't there. So it's unfortunate. Yeah, we don't know what happened. But it must have been significant enough that they said, you know what, you're not even going to the All-Star game. So
hey, I think LAFC, if you take this and you go for it, because RSL lost to Portland 3-0 over the weekend. So that's, I don't know if that's their worst loss of the season, but it's going to be up there because they don't lose a lot of games. And now with the Chicho news, this is an intriguing game. It's kind of a contradiction because you have first, second in the West. That's how they are. It may change by the time it kicks off. I don't think it will. And then you have two teams coming off tough losses, looking to get back on the rails. Whoever wins this is in the driver's seat. I know we have a long way to go, but we're well into the second half of the season. You have the All-Star break, then you have the Leagues Cup. So you have these 2 games for your MLS season before a break of about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So it'd be nice to say, plant your flag. You're in first place in the West. Great opportunity for both clubs.
It is a great opportunity, but like we mentioned before, sometimes getting that loss out of the way, especially at home, you know what? It's out of the way. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Let's start that new streak because this is really the final stretch right before the playoffs start. So now you want to get a new streak. You want to build new momentum and go flying in and get, again, I mentioned it last time, get guys healthy, get everybody back from international break, and really be flying on all cylinders heading into the playoffs.
If these things don't go well for LAFC, all of a sudden, all that, it's a long season. There's no reason for alarm, but if for some reason you drop back-to-back home games, a point wouldn't be the worst business, but it's possible. And then you have to travel to Seattle, and they are brimming with confidence. Jordan Morris has been on fire. Albert Rusnak's been playing well. Their DP, Pedro de la Vega, is starting to play. They had a big injury issue. Everyone's healthy. That game comes pretty significant. The schedule makers weren't kind where you get Columbus, Salt Lake, and Seattle. But this is, we talked about it. You're going into the storm. You got to make the most of it. This is where you can, I guess, test your championship credentials. Is that fair?
That's fair. And we all know Seattle at their place is a tough place to play as well. So it's going to be a test. It's not going to be easy. And LAFC has to be ready. They just came off a very emotional home loss. We all know they wanted redemption from the MLS Cup final they lost last year. It didn't happen. Now, good Salt Lake team who's also coming off a loss. So who's going to rebound first? And you don't want to go the what if route. What if you lose that 2 in a row? Now you're going into Seattle, a tough place. Could be potentially 3. You don't want any part of that. So you want to handle business first on Wednesday, and then you're gonna do what you have to do against Seattle. Good Seattle that's in form right now as well.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the Wednesday game is interesting because who gets into the rhythm, who gets that bad taste out of their mouth quicker.
Yeah,
I guess good way to put it. Someone's probably gonna have a bad taste in their mouth for a second straight week, or second straight game.
It's part of the league, though. You go on some win streaks, you go on some losing streaks. It's okay. You said don't panic. It's not a big deal. Obviously, fans will be a little upset if you lose 2 at home, but it's not the end of the world. You're still sitting either first or second. You're still top of the West, so a lot to be proud of. And again, just get healthy and get fresh. Get you guys back going into the playoffs. Right now, the streaks and all these things, it's not about that. It's just about playoff time.
The schedule's different in MLS from your heyday. You got a taste of it at the very end, but you have Leagues Cup, so a lot of more midweek games than normal. And LAFC's in the Open Cup, so they've had midweek, and it continues on here. So we'll have to. I mean, that's just depth's going to have to come into view. This hasn't been the deepest team in MLS. They're going to get better once they get everyone on board. Mm-hmm. But I think that's something to keep an eye on in these 2 games. How Steve Cherundolo uses his depth. We saw Eric Dueñas and David Martinez start to play a little bigger role, but not only do they have to play these guys, but they got to feel confident that these guys can give them quality minutes. That's still up in the air. I think it can happen, but it's still not concrete.
Yeah, it could happen for sure. But when you're winning, it's a lot easier to rotate for the coaching staff to feel comfortable to rotate. Sometimes if you have a loss here or there, then you feel a little pressure from the fans. Oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't rotate. We should put our trusted regular starters in. And I personally, I hate that. Look, you got to rotate. You got to keep guys fresh. You got to keep guys who don't start a lot still engaged and make them feel like they're still part of the team. But I understand the psyche of the coaching staff and the medical staff and everybody involved. So it'll be interesting for sure.
I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show, but our special guest is Ryan Hollingshead, who will be joining us. Part of the, we love Ryan. He gives us some great feedback. I do want to mention the Wednesday game, and we're here. It's, you're listening to the podcast. You might be listening to it after the Wednesday game. The new third kit, the throwback LA Aztec, very nice. We'll all get a good look. We'll talk to Ryan about that ad campaign, which I got to participate in. It's very cool. And we also, Wednesday night, have some big news. Stick around. Remember, Beta, we're trying to keep people around for the big news. The breaking news, officially. We don't break a lot of news on Inside LAFC podcast. We're going to break some news here today. What do you think? Have you seen the new jerseys? What do you think?
I want to say I've seen them, but I haven't. So I don't know. You tell me.
They're great. Fantastic. Great. You'll get a good look on Wednesday. Yeah. Third kit. The guys will be wearing it, and we'll talk about it next week. And we'll talk about it with Ryan as well here in a little bit.
I heard people talking about it, but I didn't see it yet. So I'm excited to see. LAFC doesn't usually drop the ball when it comes to things like this, so I'm excited for it.
This, to me, is their best creation yet.
Really? Wow.
With an alternate jersey, and there have been 3 or 4. We had the smoke screen. Yeah. We had the white one, which kind of came and went. I still see fans wearing them. The white with like the black chalk look.
Yeah, I like that one.
I'm sure you have a couple in your closet.
Yeah, yes, I do. Yep. Yeah, I like that. I like that one. So they haven't missed. They really haven't. So I'm excited to see this one.
Let's give you our international update for the LAFC players. They'll all be heading back. We should see Kike Oliveira. I mean, remember the Copa America was in the U.S. He should be training again with the team here very soon. By the end of the week, I don't think Wednesday he'll play, but maybe we'll see him over the weekend against the Sounders. He got to play for Uruguay in the semifinals. He got to play for them in the third place game. So he saw a lot of big minutes for a team that had a great tournament run. Olivier Giroud, France getting knocked out in the semifinals of the Euros. He announced his retirement from international football, so that made the news cycle. So I think we'll see Kike maybe the weekend. We will see, unless they give him some time off, we'll get more details. And I think we will see Olivier. I don't have any information. I think we will see him by the knockouts of the Leagues Cup. So we have the All-Star week. Then you have July 26th, they play Cholos of Tijuana, and then they play Vancouver, I think, on the 30th. I think maybe the 30th. I would believe the knockout game is when we'll see him. But that's very exciting. We've talked about this, and it's here. Kike's back, and we're going to see Olivier Giroud. And we'll see him in this podcast, too, at some point. We'll have him here on this podcast.
I'm excited to see him on the field. Obviously, he's going to need some time to train with the guys and get in rhythm with everybody and the playing style and the game model that LAFC loves and is so good at. But it's going to be very enjoyable to see what he brings to a very well-oiled machine in LAFC already.
And Beta, we said we can bring him along slow unless LAFC hits a bit of a power outage. And not that I'm saying they will, but it's all fine. The plans are all in place, but all of a sudden, maybe you don't score as much. And I think they're going to be good with Kike coming back. And Bouanga's, we know you can't keep a good man down, and we'll see what happens with Kai and others. But maybe, I don't think he gets thrust in the action, but the potential's there.
Potential's always there. When you have a player of that caliber, the potential's always there. I'm just more intrigued to see who Steve Toronto decides to leave out, because that's going to be a hard decision. I would want no part of that, but he's going to have to make the tough choices. That's why he's the boss, and it'll be interesting to see who kind of, gets the bench, at least for the first game or two. But then it's all about form from there.
I don't believe you, Beta. I think you like to make those hard decisions. And I know you want to get in the coaching rank, and I know you can go, come into my office. You got to practice this if you want to get in the coaching rank.
This is why I want to be an assistant coach. I don't have to break the bad news. I can work on something.
I don't want to do it.
Improve on. I'm not telling anybody they're benched. No chance. That's not the assistant coach's job.
You're doing great. You're doing great. We love what you're doing, but I'm gonna have to move you to the bench.
Yeah,
so
tough one.
Keep your head up. Let's practice it right now. Pretend I'm whomever coming in. I go,
Max, you suck. Get on the bench. Was that good?
Wasn't expecting that. I was a little shook up. I feel like I just got cut from the team.
Oh man, can't do it.
All right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. You're off the hook. That's the head coaching job. It's not for you. It's not for me. We like to fill the gaps, and be the nice guy and just coach. But Beta is the nicest guy. He's one of the nicest guys. But I know Beta. He's a competitor. You can see it sometimes where he goes.
Yes.
Get fired up.
On the field is different.
Cut.
Off the field, I'm very cool-tempered. On the field, sometimes I get a little heated. It's okay.
I got some news, Beta. The U.S. Open Cup semifinal. We talked about the Sounders, so they're going to play them here. It's a long ways away. It's going to be August 27th. This is great for the Open Cup. It's going to be on Apple TV, so you already know where to check it out. The other semifinal, Sporting Kansas City and Indy 11. You have the USL team, so you have like that Cinderella story. But here you have the heavyweights. August 27th. It is going to be played in Seattle, but not at Lumen Field. You know why? Because Metallica has been booked at Lumen Field that night. And you can't tell Metallica.
Wow. Yeah.
Sorry, maybe Guns N' Roses, you can say, sorry, guys, we have a soccer game.
No,
Metallica.
No. Priority. Yep.
Priorities. So they're going to play at the Starfire Complex, which if you get out of Seattle, it's not too far from downtown. It's about 10 minutes from the airport. It's a really nice complex where the Tacoma Defiance, their MLS Next Pro team plays. 4,500 seats. So that should be interesting. It's going to be intimate. It's going to be packed. I mean,
it's going to be packed. Yeah. It's going to be packed, and it's going to be very intimate. My first few years in the league, we played at Buckshot Stadium.
I called games from there.
Yeah, and it only held 10,000, and we packed it. We had a good team while I was there, and so all the fans showed up, and it felt intimate. They were, right on the sideline, felt like they're on top of you, and it's a tough place when you're coming in as an away team to play when you feel like the fans are on top of you like that. So even though the number isn't great, you definitely felt the home field advantage playing there. So yeah, it'll be a good game.
I love it. I love the fact it's going to be small, but it's going to be atmospheric. There'll be some LAFC fans there. They get their tickets, and it's going to be intense because it's a semifinal. 90 minutes to see who plays for the Open Cup. LAFC hasn't won it. Seattle is looking to become the first MLS team to win it 5 times. And I've spoken to Brian Schmetzer. I call some of their games. He's locked in. This is important to them, just like it's important to LAFC. So I'm really excited about that game. So August 27th, Starfire Complex in Seattle.
Mark it down. Yep.
We may not see Beta there. But where we will see him, are you ready for the news? The drum roll?
Let's hear it.
Well, I was going to see if you wanted to say it. Do you want to mention it?
No, please. You be my guest.
Wednesday night, BMO Stadium. LAFC and Real Salt Lake, the release of the new jersey. That's all fine and dandy. First for second place. The big news, the Falconer is going to be none other than Steven Beitashour. Congratulations. You did it.
I made it. I finally made it. I've been trying to be the Falconer since my playing days with LAFC. No, it's an honor. When they asked me, I was very, very proud and happy that they even asked me. And I said, absolutely. When and where and what time do they show up? And let's do it. So I'm excited. So I will be there Wednesday. Hopefully Ollie doesn't fly away. Hopefully she listens and does what she's supposed to do. Because I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, we had another Ollie episode.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Playing, no problem. Releasing a Falcon, I'll be a little scared, but it's okay. I'm excited.
I say make a relationship with Ollie beforehand. Have a couple words. She'll listen.
A couple words.
She'll remember you.
Positive
These birds are smart.
Yeah. You know, my voice and just talking to her like, hey, I knew you were a little baby. Come on.
Hey, so Lee Wynn did it a few weeks ago. Did you stay in touch with Lee? Did you get any points?
No, I need to. I'm gonna shoot him a text when we get off of this. I'm gonna be like, hey, any pointers? But it sounded like and it looked like everything went well for him. So hopefully it all goes well for me.
I'll give you some of my advice. Just make the most of that night. The beautiful thing about BMO Stadium, you can get from one end to the other in 10 minutes. It's just a nice setting. Everything's close by. Pop over to the north end. Pop over to the field club. You know, people are going to be so thrilled to see you.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a nice throwback.
I'm going to say hi to all my old friends and, take some pictures, sign some autographs, go hang out the 3252 for a little bit. But you know who's actually really excited? My son. He is so into just animals. And
he will be there, right?
He knows facts, and he'll be there. And he might want to hold the falcon because he just loves every kind of animal. And he knows falcon's the fastest animal in the world. And he'll tell you how fast it can go when it's diving down. For 5-year-old, he knows his stuff about animals, so he's super excited. Which, as a dad, makes me very excited to bring him there. So
could be the next. And there's a data reference. Jack Hanna, he's to bring the animals out on the Tonight Show, and love the animals.
Oh man, he knows so many facts about just random animals. Like you wouldn't even know the names. When we go, I take him to the zoo here. We'll go into all different parts and reptiles and what this, that. And he'll look in the little glass and he'll say the exact name, long name, like the real name. And people next to us are like looking like, they check and they're like, oh my gosh, that's really the name of it.
Proud Papa moment.
I'm just like, yeah, he loves it. So yeah.
Were you smart as a kid about anything like that? I remember I was with flags. You showed me a flag, I could mention it. Burkina Faso, Uruguay.
Yeah, was that your thing?
That was my thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything like that, but
Papua New Guinea. Sorry, I was just practicing.
Yeah, I don't know if I was.
What if you hear a couple boos on Wednesday night?
Oh man, my heart would hurt.
You're not going to hear.
No, I've been there a few times. When the Rapids came to town, and the 3252 and all the fans treated me so well. And it's actually funny because every time we went back to LAFC, the Rapids players were like, man, everybody here recognized you. Nobody recognized me with the Rapids. I just didn't play much with them. And so I always enjoy coming back to LA and seeing all the fans and friends, the staff members. It's a good time. So I'm looking forward to it. And if there are boos, that's okay.
So if you hear this pod before the game, say hi to Beta. He's going to love to see it. See if you can stump his kid with an animal, whatever it is. You have a lot of good things there.
Any kind of animal, try.
And Beta, they get the win. It's going to reflect well off you. And that's a big game. First for second. They gave you a nice game. I mean, people are looking forward to this game and the jersey release. I mean, this is where they usually bring in Will Ferrell or something, and they brought you in.
Who knows? Maybe Will Ferrell will come out with me. We'll go out together. So he still owes me a ride into the stadium because that was part of the deal for me signing as a free agent. He was supposed to, drive me in. I don't know if he's going to dress up in a suit and tie or not, but that was part of the deal. So
you got to cash in on that.
Yeah. We've joked around a few times whenever we hung out after games or dinner or whatever, and he's joked around about it. So he remembers. He remembers.
One thing about Will Ferrell, he's very well connected. I don't know if he's going to be there. He's busy. He's making movies,
He's making
have
movies.
you, but he knows everyone. I mean, he came up to me and he goes, Max, da 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 da. Like I was like, oh, well, you're Will Ferrell. He's just that way. He is really. This is his club and he loves it. So if he's there, you should storm into the director's box and go, "Where's my ride, Ferrell?"
Yeah, I let him know. I'm like, hey, you know what? I still wouldn't mind it. I'm not a player anymore, but if you want to drive me around, I wouldn't mind it. But no, he's busy. He's making movies. He's doing things.
Beta, we have a big week. Good luck with the Falconer and with Ollie. Fans, don't put your head down. We know this club they persevere, and Steve Cherundolo is a great coach. He's going to get these guys back on the rail. So come out and support the team. We'll see you again next week, Beta. I want all the stories from the stadium.
Yes, I'll try to take some good pictures. I'm really excited that my family's going to be there. It's a cool moment that as a player, you can't really celebrate with your family. So I'm really excited to be the Falconer, really excited that my family would be there, and can't wait to tell you all about it.
And hit some of your former spots. I may go Pershing Square, maybe.
Hey, let's go. I can't wait to go back. They asked us.
We had dinner there.
Max coming back, so let's go.
We had a nice feed down there near Westwood. Very, very good. Inside LAFC podcast will roll on. Don't go anywhere. We will be joined by Ryan Hollingshead, LAFC defender. We'll talk about the Columbus game. We'll talk about the New Jerseys, and we'll talk about the big week with games against Salt Lake and Seattle. Inside LAFC podcast is presented by Freeway Insurance. Driving savings. Welcome back to Inside LAFC podcast. I believe this is the first appearance for 2024. A guy that we leaned into. He's probably wondering why he hasn't been on there. Is that the case, Ryan? Are you like, why haven't been invited on the pod? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a little offended. I'm glad you brought it up. No, it's been a good little break. We got to get some new faces on here, you know?
Exactly. All the new guys, we want to do some storytelling for them. So I figured Ryan would be patient enough. And we wanted to build up for you. In particular, your 1 goal, 3 assist performance against San Jose. So I'm glad we did it after that.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hey, that was is that the best offensive performance for Ryan Hollingshead, safe to say? I mean, that was you didn't have anything on your season and then a goal and 3 assists.
Yeah. It's been a funny season. I got injured for a little bit, was out with a neck problem, come back, getting back into a good rhythm. And then to have a big, 6-goal game like that, it's easy to be in the attack and easy to get forward a little bit more than I've been able to this season so far. So that always feels so good. And you know how this game is. It's like once you get 1 or once you get 2, it just opens up and then they start flowing. So that's the goal. Just keep building on it.
We joined you a year ago in DC as you were an all-star and starting an all-star game. Didn't make it, obviously, the injuries. We know you'll be back there, Ryan, because you're one of the best in the business. But what's been key? Let's go back to that year. Let's bookend this. I mean, but what has it been like? What has it shown you as a professional, how this sport operates? Obviously, you know it intimately. You've been at it a long time. But going from that date to this date.
Yeah, I mean, what a fun challenge and opportunity to be able to play in an all-star game like that. You don't play for those accolades. You're not playing to try to get the personal, like, I want everybody to see me as an all-star. But you are playing to be the best you can for the team. You are playing to lift trophies as a team. And when you can get recognized individually for the effort that you're putting in, it always feels good. In my career, I feel like I've had some very good seasons and maybe not gotten recognized in the ways I would have hoped. And getting a national team call up or getting an opportunity to show myself at the highest level. So all-star call up for me was just so important to remind me of the hard work I've put in and getting rewarded in a sense for that hard work. This season, I think, has been just a stellar season. We've had ton of success here. It's been fun to build off of what started last season. I had a weird little neck injury that set me back a couple weeks, but besides that, my body feels good. I feel like we're competing at a really high level right now. And so it's about keeping those things going, continuing just to build. I've had the mindset since I've gotten into this league that it doesn't matter how good I feel or where I'm at in my career. I always want to grow and become a better player, work on things that I can work on and develop my game until I'm done playing, until I retire. I want to constantly be developing my game and not just be okay with, okay, I've done enough or I've created enough of a name for myself or any of those thoughts, but to just keep pushing the envelope and see what I can do and see what I can get out of my body and see what I can get out of this skill. So it's been a fun season in that regard. And like you said, now I hope to get on the score sheet a little bit more and try to get back to some scoring ways.
And we know that you continue to. It's been an incredible career, and a guy who's maintained that consistency and continue to work on your craft. So, by the way, with the All-Star game now, that was a commitment. You had to go to DC, you had to play, you had to do the PR and all that. Now, what do you get? A couple days off? You get to recharge the batteries?
I wish, but no, we've got the Leagues Cup starts the next day. So I think that All-Star game is Wednesday. Leagues Cup for us starts on Friday. So no, there's no breaks in this league, especially with Leagues Cup and just the congestion of our schedule. It's hard to get breaks, but that's okay. We're committed. We're excited to go after another trophy, and Leagues Cup will be a good opportunity for us again.
So we should no longer call it an all-star break. That is a misnomer. It's an all-star game. No break for anyone.
Yeah, there's no break. There's no break. And for our guys that are in the game, their break might come after the all-star game, getting a couple games off, because they're going to come from Wednesday, fly back on Thursday, try to be ready to be in the lineup for Friday. It's the opposite of a break. It's even more congestion.
Well, we'll see about Hugo. We know Denny will be in there because he's a freak with regards to making flights and just going right. He'll probably be in his uniform, landing in LAX, ready to go.
Yes, it's crazy. And if you tell him, like, hey, we're going to rest you, take a little break, we will play you later, we'll put you in the second half or something, he's like, no way. I'm in. I'm ready to go. And, I mean, that's the kind of guy you want on your team, a guy that's just fighting to get minutes, even if you're trying to help him out and say, hey, your body needs a little break. What can we do to help? He's like, nope, I want in. I want to start. I'll go as long as I can go. And usually it's 90 minutes. So
that's really interesting. I would love to ask you about it because, most players want to play all the time, but the coaches and the teammates go, hey, man, it's best you have a break. But then are his data points off the charts in that sense where it's like, look, his performance doesn't dip. So technically I can't tell him you need a break because his body says it doesn't need a break.
Yeah. It's a fine line, right? There's some side of you as a coach that's like, hey, he says he's ready to go. He's such an important player for us. We need him on the field as much as we can have him. And then there's also the side of, okay, but even though you say you can, I need to, as the head coach, make an ultimate decision to say, no, you're out. Like, let your body rest. It's like, it's like kids in a candy shop. It's like they want to eat everything. And at some point the parent has to say, hey, it's just actually not good for you. Even if they say they feel okay and it looks good or whatever, you have to at some point put your foot down. So that's the better problem to have, though. The worst problem to have is the DP, the designated player that comes in and gets a big contract and wants to take his time off and wants to go on vacation and is always looking for excuses not to play. And that is not this guy. This guy is the opposite of that. And so you'll take that problem all day long. You'll take the problem of having to convince a guy to not play minutes over any other problem that could be out there.
So what we also learned is Denny can eat all the candy he wants. He's like Willy Wonka. He will be unfazed.
It's not what I meant, but he can. Oh, yeah. You hear these stories all the time of the guys that can, go to McDonald's or eat Chick-fil-A before a game and then go play 90 minutes and just crush it. Denny could definitely be one of those guys. He's not. I don't think he is doing that, but he just could. He's got that sort of a body where his body, he just push through anything. So kudos to him.
Would it be awesome if you show up for a game and you walk by his car and he's putting down a Big Mac? You go, Denny, we're kicking. What do you do?
Oh, yeah. I would,
Wouldn't be
yeah, no, if
surprised.
that was me, oh yeah. If that was me, I'd be out in the 30th minute.
Taking a
Full
nap.
hand. Yeah, yeah.
So, hey, Ryan, what's keeping you busy? You know, we know you put more than anyone put a lot on their plate in addition to maintaining your standard on the field. What's keeping Ryan busy here this year?
Well, of course, always the family. I have 4 kids now. My oldest is about to be 8 in August. My youngest is about to be 2 this month in July. So, uh, having just 4 kids, doing all of the things, playing soccer, going to the beach, just doing all of those things, consumes a lot of my time in a good way. I love being a dad. I love being a husband. It's just one of the joys of my life. So that's always something that I look forward to. Outside of that, my real estate endeavors and investing in different properties. I spend some time uh, in doing that, and making some deals happen. So just try to balance it all. You're trying to trying to prepare for the future, trying to enjoy the present, trying to set myself up to be the best player that I can be, the best dad, the best husband. So there's always a lot of things that you juggle. But I joke a lot often, especially with the guys here, that it's like I can't remember the last time I sat and watched a Netflix show or played a video game or anything like that. So it's not really in my my agenda. I've got a busy schedule and full of things that I just love to do.
No naps, because all the players I talk to say they find time for naps, but not for Ryan.
Naps are hard to come by. Naps are for sure
With a
a
2-year-old.
given. Yeah. 2-year-olds don't really understand that dad needs a nap. Neither does the 7/almost 8-year-old. I get home from training, exhausted, and he's like, "Hey, football front yard, let's go, let's play." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm so tired. I can't run around and kick a ball with you right now." And he's like, "What do you mean? Yeah, let's go. It's time to. I've been waiting all day for you to get home so we can play." So it's always finding the right balance and making space for that. And yeah, hopefully I do it well.
By the way, with the real estate ventures, I know Aaron Long is following you around looking for tips. Is there anyone else now that's kind of getting on board? Hollingshead Inc. Realty.
Yes, yeah. We got to come up with a better name, better business name.
That's a pretty good name, Hollingshead Realty.
Yeah, that's good. Hollingshead Realty Inc. It's just we can come up with something good there. That's something you throw into Chat GPT and let it run with some name ideas. Aaron's in. I've gotten some other guys, some other buddies that I played with in. I'm always just talking about it because I'm doing it. And the funny thing about an athlete is you, especially in the MLS, you make a really good salary while you're playing, but it's very rarely enough to just be done and retired off of. Most of the time, guys after the MLS made a really good salary and they'll have to transition into something else. So it's fun to talk to guys who maybe aren't as financially literate or don't really understand money and how it works. It's fun to give them ideas of how to make that money they're making now work for them. So in the future, they have the ability to, have some passive income or have other assets that are producing for them rather than just the income they have from soccer. Because when that dries up, there's nothing else there unless they're thinking about those things. And so, yeah, I'm always talking about it. Aaron and I invest in deals all the time together, which is so much fun. I love investing with the right people. It's so fun to have them on the team. And yeah, the goal is just to get more people involved and hopefully get more people connected to good investment opportunities that they wouldn't have outside of, maybe knowing me or knowing a connection who's doing it. So that sort of stuff's exciting.
Hey, Ryan, whenever you decide to hang it up many years from now, maybe we can plug this into the league and they could hire you to talk to all the rookies and all that. This is what you got to do. Tuck a little bit here. This is the hot real estate. Is there a hot real estate spot you found? Can you divulge that information, or is that hush hush until we pay your fee?
No, there's so many ways to get invested into real estate. And if you listen to any real estate podcast or follow any real estate guru, everybody's got their own way of doing it. You've got Airbnbs, you've got commercial assets like multifamily storage, you've got office buildings. There's just so many ways that you can invest, and everybody's got like, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way. There is no the way. It's whatever way that works for you, and educating yourself, figuring out a niche that you enjoy and that you know well and that you can get involved in. I've gotten the niche that I've kind of found myself in kind of on accident, but have loved, is the mobile home park space.
I have a friend who's in that business too, and he got in early.
Yeah. And I didn't get in early. I've gotten in the last like 5 years, and I've loved it. It's been a ton of fun. Closing on another park this month. So it's been a fun ride. And again, it's like, if somebody came and asked me like, should I do mobile home parks? I'd be like, maybe it could work and it could not. It just really depends. And so there's more conversations that need to be had there, but I've loved it. It's been such a joy, and it's a different sort of competitiveness, like on the field, I'm competitive in a very like specific way. And this kind of business venture side has another sort of competitive edge to it that I've really enjoyed as well.
Well, this is amazing. It's turning like a real estate pod, which is a good service. We encourage players to watch it. But I'm going to turn it back to the club. I don't know if you were aware, and this is a little out of order because this was something that came out on ESPN.com as they ranked the player performance index, all American players in Europe, in Mexico, in MLS, everywhere. And they put all the data points of what they did. And you were like 12th. You were the highest ranked player in MLS. You're like ahead of Weston McKennie. They put I don't know how to look at it, but were you made aware of this? Have you heard of this thing?
No, I haven't seen it. No, that's amazing. I haven't heard of it at all. But that's been a little bit of the story of my career in some ways, where it's like I'm just a like awkward looking white dude running around out there, and I'm tripping over my feet, and everybody's like, is he doing this on purpose or is it on accident? Who knows? But it just always works out, and it's just the way that I've played since day one. And so I'm the sort of guy that has the stats that would say I'm an elite player and has the visible attributes or the look as if I'm a donkey. So it's just been funny because I've always had, I've had really good stats in my career with goals and assists and things that I've done at a high level that I've always thought like, oh, that's amazing. That's going to catch people's eye. I can get a national team call up. And it just hasn't really equated to those things as much and those accolades as much as it has to just like success on the field and me just really enjoying my career. And so I think one of my strengths has been not focusing on things that are out of my control, but just focusing on the things that I can do day in and day out and letting God decide, letting the Lord lead in how he's going to do it. And I'm just like happy and grateful for whatever the opportunities are.
Well, according to this poll, you should be starting for the national team. And this is next level stats. And I talk to coaches and they always look at the stats. They always talk about stats, data, analytics. So you're in good standing. I got to talk. Sorry to interrupt you, Ryan. I got to talk to you about the Adidas Archive collection. You were part of the campaign, part of it. I was honored to be part of it. You looked like a fish to water in this 70s motif thing. Was this right up your alleyway?
You know what? When I brought the mustache back for this, it was just the perfect sort of timing for this shoot. It was.
How'd you do it? You did the.
Yeah. Yes. Unbelievable. But yeah, you have the 70s. This photo shoot was so fun. The guys had a blast. I had so much fun being a part of it. You show up, they've got all the 70s gear. Everything's laid out. I have a freshly shaved mustache, so I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. They've got the outfits for you. They've got the different scenes and the different sets. And it was just fun to get into character for that. And then the kit itself is amazing. I love the kit. I think it's one of the best kits since I've been here, if not my favorite kit. It's just like quintessential with the Los Angeles across the front. Looks so good. So really fun to be a part of that shoot. And I know you were a part of it as well. It was special. They took it seriously, and we had a lot of fun producing that content.
Everyone is raving about this. I mean, we always hear the new kit and everything comes out. Everyone's like, yeah, it's good. But it's like collectively from in LA to outside, I'm getting like, DMs and all that. Hey, how would I get hold of this? I can't wait to walk around town in this outfit. It's not just nostalgia, but it's just cool. I mean, it fits
it's
in
so
20.
Cool. Yeah, it is so cool.
You get the Gazelle shoes. You have the Anthem jacket. So it's a whole collection. So we'll see you around town in your F-150 with that arm out with your jersey.
It's so funny that you know how this works. They have to submit all these ideas years before it actually comes out, because there's such a process of getting the design, creating the jersey, getting it released. The fact that they hit as they hit and it's coming out right now and it's perfect. I think you're going to see a lot of people walking around LA with these jerseys. I'll be one of them for sure. My kids will be wearing these jerseys for sure. They love repping the LAFC jersey, and they are stoked about this one.
And many people will hear this pod after the fact. Wednesday, the guys will be wearing them. So get to the game Wednesday or the next home game. Leagues Cup's a great time to do it. Go to HQ, get your new jersey, or LAFC.com, or they'll direct you to where you can get it. But it looked really good. And by the way, Timothy Tillman, I mean, he was perfect in that. He looked like he had a ball.
Everybody was perfect. Denis with the start with the wink, just the straight face wink, so good. Timmy in the barber shop, like in the barber chair. Oh my gosh, everybody played their role. It was just awesome. And like I said, they selected people for the right roles, and then they also had just set up everything so well. The sets were perfect. They took it seriously from the start, and you could tell the creativity and just like the cinematography of it, all of it was top notch.
Yeah, a credit to our creative team, our content team, who all participated in that. Matt Bauer, Pat Aviles, Yuli Roman, who we love, Joe Madden, Marco Saldana, the whole group. Very good. Awesome chatting with you, Ryan. I hope to have you back soon. Enjoy your All-Star break, and see if you can get me a nice little mobile home close to the water. I've seen some up in Santa Barbara. If you give me a good lead, I'm getting a little older. Maybe I've got to find a place I can just put my feet up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, some of these mobile homes are like $2 million+. So
what?
Oh yeah, crazy. There's some in Malibu on the water that, yeah, it's a whole different world out there. But okay,
that's out of my price range, but maybe something
crazy. Yeah, thanks for having me on. So fun to be back on, and glad that we got to announce this kit release too. That's so fun.
Excellent. Get your jersey. They're going to be there, and you're gonna look smart walking around town. That's all the time we have for Inside LAFC podcast. We'd like to thank Ryan, of course, Beta, who always joins us, who is going to be the Falconer on Wednesday. We'll be back to recap everything that happened in a busy 2-game week as the boys take it out to Seattle on the weekend as well. Until we meet again, this is Max saying so long.